Hey guys, it's Twisty once again.
Me first.
We're joined once again by Baba talking about episode 4 of Revolution. It's continuing. So, we're going to open up with once again the characters, and this time we're going to talk about Monroe. He's mentioned in this episode as once again the big bad. He doesn't really do anything except for talk to Rachel.
No, he intimidated.
Not quite.
Did you not see his scary torture devices that we only saw laid out on the table in the room?
Right. I mean, I was very horrified by them. Right, especially when they did not use them to show things. What was so bad that he did to her that you could not show on TV or show any scars? So it was bad.
He cut her tongue.
I would love that. That would have been nice. But then she speaks. I don't know. But anyway, we'll continue on. Let's go ahead and talk about Rachel. Rachel comes off as the really, really tough woman. And, you know, Baba mentioned Rachel looked very well for a torture victim at the end of the episode, not even scratching her face. And I think that's really where we kind of want to start with Rachel. Rachel was supposed to be tortured, and we saw no torturing. That I don't know why NBC decided to tell us and not show us or leave any scars. Which I've been fine you didn't show us. I just want some scars or marks or something like that. But, you know, whatever. You make your choices. Um, but another thing, Rachel comes off as one of the toughest female characters on the show in the fact that she's willing to stand up for family. She will not tell Monroe anything. She is just strong. But we don't know why. We don't know much about her character, except for the fact she's married to Ben. She's Charlie's mother, she's Danny's mother, and that's about all we really know.
Well, like, at the end of the episode, we did see her turn herself over to the militia. We don't know why.
But that's another example of her being really tough and strong.
Well, actually, she turned herself over to Maya.
Right. Which makes it
part of the militia.
So I don't know exactly what this is all about. Why is she coming off as so strong? If she's really that strong of a character, why is she so strong? I keep wondering that, but it makes me think that everyone loves her secretly. Is that not what I got feeling? Ben liked her, Miles liked her, and then
I think Miles kind of like a secret crush on her. That's why he just looked at her when she came up to him like, killed yourself, and then just kind of walked.
But then again, I feel like Monroe has to have some kind of thing for her, or he would have already killed her.
Yeah, I think Monroe also had a thing for her, but you know, remember Monroe said Miles was yours is mine.
True. So if Miles liked her, he has to like her. It's just a rule.
Exactly.
Actually, talking about that, let's go and talk about Miles for a little bit. Miles had a breakdown this episode about he wanted to leave. Why?
He was on. I mean, like, seriously, he came out of nowhere.
It really did. That was one of the holes that we will later talk about. But I didn't fully understand why he did it. It was not clear at all as to why he decided to do that. But
like he turned into a girl. He was like, I need to leave, and then he was like, no, I'm okay.
So I didn't fully understand that. Then let's talk a little bit about Nora. Nora is now there more often, more prominent. We don't really know anything about her, but she does stay with Maggie, which makes you think maybe there's something there, not relationship wise, but maybe there's a sign of her staying with Maggie as to maybe what Nora's next role will be.
Yeah.
Then there's Charlie.
We talk about Maggie.
Why didn't you get shot? Then let's talk about Maggie. Maggie gets stabbed one time in the entire show and dies.
Yeah.
Everyone else got hurt, but not they killed Maggie.
He hit harder.
Right. Which we're glad she was a doctor to alert us. That's what he did.
And she was bleeding out.
So
she was losing blood.
So she first had regular children, then she had computer children, then she grew to iPhone children. Eventually, if she had lived, I'm assuming they would have gotten transferred to a USB, so she'd been carrying them around with her like she was the phone, but they got smaller. They keep shrinking the children. But I don't understand.
She was reading the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Strange. So, I mean, I don't really fully understand much about her, except for the fact she really, really, really wanted to get to her children, and she was over in the United States instead of England.
And then she was like, my kid died alone.
But you don't even know that because you never got to them. So I don't. It's a lot of little things like that where it starts to annoy you. There's Danny who, you know what is you know what's the greatest thing about it? Bob, I mentioned this. This boy could not run through a field of grass without dying, but he made it through an entire storm without having one asthma attack.
Oh, you didn't know that? Well, I mean, see, apparently what happens is with your asthma, when you can sniff out the storm,
Okay.
it cancels out the asthma, so you good for the whole hour.
Yeah. Baba actually says Danny is a storm sniffer.
Well, I mean, he did just. This was about.
Yeah. So apparently, but another thing I've learned about his asthma is when he's trying to escape, that's when his asthma will flare up. But as long as he's captured, his asthma is fine.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's the trigger. People with asthma don't
escape any bad.
Yeah, don't just try to escape because that's when your asthma messes up. But as long as you're captured and unable to leave, your asthma's fine.
You're fine.
That's
the
cure. We figured out according to
doctors, y'all can stop.
Right. So we figured it out.
But also, Danny does escape a lot too.
Yeah. So maybe that just says they're just bad at what they do. And Captain Neville trapped under a pile of debris. That was funny. I actually kind of thought that was a funny thing. It wasn't meant to be funny, but it was funny. So, Rachel, are you ready for your torture? Getting scared yet, huh? Huh? What's this, huh? 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 No more chat for this. You're lucky that we never showed this torture scene, and you come out fine. Look, whatever.
Where are you going?
To go get my sword.
Well, you were talking about leaving us anyway, so. Whatever.
Well, now I just might after I go get my weapon. Moving on now to the plot. The whole plot of this episode was basically the two teams are reunited once again. Maggie and Aaron meet back up with
Child and them.
And Nora is now joined with them, and she looks at them and judges them harshly.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing: her little rebels were worse than them. I'm assuming because they couldn't do anything either. But yes, she had tarp something just up there with them.
Well, I mean, duh, you have a fat nerd and that.
Right. Skinny nerd and fat nerd. So it was, and then you have on the other side, you have a storm that is brewing that's only like an hour away from, no, a day's walk away from. That a storm, a horrible tornado.
It was a tornado.
And Captain Neville, while it attacked Captain Neville while Danny is trying to escape, Captain Neville tackles him. They run down to a shelter, and they come out.
They
okay.
survive, and Neville captures Danny again.
Yeah. So once again, because Neville is trapped, Danny has to, figure out a way to get him out of it, and Neville captures him because Danny once again is a good guy, so he just couldn't let him die.
Oh my gosh, I would let him die.
Yeah, it kind of would have been, but it would have ruined the show. Because Neville, to me, is 10 times worse than that.
He is, but I think they got the one person.
Yeah, I think eventually I would rather have Neville be the head, actually. That's just personal.
Yeah.
But, so, that's pretty much the whole plot. The two scenes that we decided to focus on was Miles' sporadic behavior, because we put that as the biggest hole. The reason why this is a hole, and I understand it could have led to this, it really could have. But here's the issue. Miles says, okay, I'm going to help you find your brother. Okay. He goes out, he searches out Nora, he gets captured, they find out all the stuff about his past, or how the militia was even created, and suddenly now he's worried, oh, you know what, you're better off without me.
Yeah.
What? You haven't been in it long enough to really reach this explanation. You have not grown enough as a character. You do not know enough about your niece and nephew to think they're 10 times better off with you. You're the only one who can fight besides Nora. How are they better off without you? Period. That was just a ridiculous thing. I just think he's trying to show emotion. Yeah. Make you think he's gonna leave, which I never thought he was gonna leave.
Well, actually, I think they were trying to give his character more depth. But
because he just comes off as angry.
Yeah, but I like the angry character.
I do too. I like because he's the only one I actually kind of believe. I believe him. I believe he's just angry and he's just kind of mean. So I'm okay with that. Then the most intellectual moment we had was when you have Maggie reading Wizard of Oz. Now, why is it smart? She just read a book to her iPhone / computer / real / soon to be USB children. It's because the book is The Wizard of Oz about Dorothy always trying to get home. If you didn't catch that, she was constantly trying to get home. It was a nice moment with a subtle.
It was a nice parallel.
It was subtle. It was very subtle. You probably paid much attention if you didn't really think about what The Wizard of Oz was about. Yeah. And so it was a really nice parallel without beating you over the head with saying, hey, this is a smart moment. Because how many kids read The Wizard of Oz? I never did. I forgot it was a book half the time.
I saw the movie.
Yeah, that I didn't know that was a book until like much later. I just think I should leave. They're better off without me. I mean, they can't fight. They have no military experience. They can't defend themselves. They're probably going to die within a matter of days. They're just better off without me. Safer.
No, wait, don't go.
Nora, I know you are very concerned right now. I can hear it in your voice.
Of course.
But I have to go.
We need you, Miles. Well, I don't, but I mean they do.
I know they don't.
They
They're
can't
better
fight,
off.
and no.
They will die within no time because they have no way to defend themselves. Have you not seen that giant nerd over there?
Well, exactly. That's why they need you, and Charlie is always just being a girl, and I think she's being that. But no, they need you. They need you. Don't go, Mom. Please, stay.
No, I've made up my mind.
No.
I'm going to leave. Only after I get my sword.
Okay, Billy and Pete, I'll read one sentence to you. And Dorothy followed the yellow brick road. Now take your butts to bed.
Alright, we have the two main questions of the night. The first question is, who's going to replace Maggie, aka the doctor? Maggie is the only one who has any medical experience. She's the one who keeps fixing everyone up, and they killed her. I'm assuming, as I mentioned earlier, that Nora was there when left with Maggie. She's the one who was willing to pull out the needle, sterilize it, and try to sew up her ruptured arteries.
Although we didn't see it.
Right. So, well, I'm assuming that's a budget issue. But since that's the reason why, I'm assuming maybe Nora has some kind of nursing or hospital first aid, some kind of experience.
Maybe she just isn't creepy.
Right. So I'm assuming that she's going to have to be the person who steps up and to be somewhat of the doctor. Baba actually mentioned she doesn't think there is going to be a character to the doctor. She thinks that the writers are just going to avoid hurting people so they can avoid the character altogether.
Probably.
But I thought that was interesting too. So.
I believe that because you killed off the doctor, so it's like everybody. It seems like everybody else is extra here.
Right. So you're either gonna have Nora, who's gonna be nurse aide, or you're gonna have
no more injuries.
Period. So. The second question is, who is the next person that Aaron is going to confide in, and will he finally tell Charlie about the device that was given to him by Ben and Father? Now, I'm assuming that he is eventually going to have to tell someone because it was weird that he eventually had to tell Maggie. There was no real reason. There was no prompting.
But I think it was because he was kind of nervous about it because
a dead person a person that is now dead gave me something.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm assuming that he's going to have to feel the need to tell somebody, and I'm assuming it's probably going to be Charlie because I don't think he trusts anybody else in that group.
Right.
So the only person he actually even remotely knows would be Charlie. So I'm assuming he's going to tell Charlie, and even Baba agreed with that she thinks it's probably going to be Charlie if he decides to tell. If he doesn't decide to tell, then she said what might happen is it's going to pop up at like the time where hold on, if we only had this device, you mean this one? You mean the thing you've been carrying around this entire show?
But he probably won't tell anybody, and then they'd be like, "Hey, I have this." You know.
Right. So it is gonna be one of the things he's gonna confide in Charlie, or it's gonna pop up at like the time that like you had this and I haven't told no one. I told Maggie. Maggie's dead. Yeah. So.
Well, you know.
Yeah, just some thoughts. Kind of curious to see where Revolution's going next week. Not really sure how it's gonna turn out because these episodes have been fading on a little bit on the weak side. So I'm really hoping, really talking back. I'm hoping that it's going to get better. Hoping because they have been signed up for the entire season, so it will not get canceled in the middle of the season.
Oh, okay.
So they do have a whole season. So
apparently the grandfather clock is still with the hair yet, but yeah.
So we're cutting it off now. This is Twisty, you guys.
Deep Fresh and Baba and the grandfather clock.
Right. And check out Revolution Monday night in DC. Thanks you guys for watching.